Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured, why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say, I'm watching so-and-so show. And then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it. And that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about episode 4 of the FX Limited series Justified, City Primeval, entitled Kokomo. So this episode is named after the Beach Boys song, Kokomo, not only because Clement sings it to Sweetie while talking about his plan to extort the people from the judge's book and split that money with Sweetie, but also because we learn while it plays that Raylan himself is keeping watch outside of Carolyn's home. They're trying to build a romantic relationship here, and I'm not sure I buy it yet. I'm not buying it, but I'm not buying it either. I think it speaks to the quality of this show at this point that the episode title is based off of something so irrelevant and inconsequential, I think, to the episode. Like, if I think about this episode, I think of the episode title usually tying in with one of the more important aspects of the episode. Because, of course, why would you name it after something stupid like the song that someone sings while they lay out a plan? I'm not really trying. Yeah, I guess I am shitting on shitting on the title selection, but I don't know. I just feel like I think it's kind of indicative of this show, at least the way it has been up to this point through 4 episodes, that they would choose to name this episode after something as inconsequential as the song that played at the end, and how nothing really of any real importance happened during that. It's not like somebody got killed while it was playing. Raylan worked his way into possible getting pussy while it was playing. I don't know, but that's what they want me to take from it. I also like they drank Blanton's. It's a great bourbon if you can find it at MSRP, but in Michigan, it's virtually impossible. If you find it here, it's probably gonna cost you like $200. And at MSRP's for $60. It's great at for $60. It's great for $200. It's not worth it. Anyway, moving on, talking about the episode. I just want to start by shouting out this episode actually by using the very first scene to address not one but 2 of the issues that I bitched about in the last video. The first being Clement not feeling like a real threat and nothing more than a nuisance. And the second thing being Skinder dying off camera in an offhanded comment over phone conversation. Well, it turns out Skinder did not die off camera. He, in fact, did not die at all. We, in fact, see that Clement finally did some tough guy shit in a tough guy situation and forced Skinder to essentially crush his own leg. Now, yes, it was done at gunpoint, and yes, Sandy had to actually initiate the closing of the door, flip the switch, whatever, but still, making someone have to willingly submit to that was pretty badass. But, I'd still like to learn more about Clement, but I think I should probably let that go, as mysterious and unpredictable equals badass in the minds of the people behind this show. I'm not even gonna say I don't agree with that. I say I disagree with that vehemently. It can work, but it ain't working here. And Yeah, I think that's just what they want to do, and I'm gonna stop hoping to find out why Clement is so intimidating to people, and I'm just gonna assume that they incorrectly think that he is sufficiently badass enough on screen, which he is not. But at least they gave me something there to enjoy in that Skinder scene. Another thing I liked was the pacing in this episode. I think the pacing's been pretty good overall. Like, I like when shows in general are like, here's what needs to happen, and then like in a scene or two later, that's what's happening. That here's what needs to happen is being put into motion. And in this episode, they instantly established the stakes, and it's exactly what I said last week. The Albanians are going to come after Clement. So Maureen and Brill, I had to learn their two names. They tell Raylan to convince Skinder to snitch on Clement. You know, a simple way, like, hey, if you tell that this guy did this, boom, bada bing, boom, we done. Like, that's it. We got Clement behind bars, good to go. I was curious why they needed Raylan to do that. Like, I'm like, if I was a Detroit cop, right, and some motherfucker in a cowboy hat came in and just like just swing his dick around and shit like that, I would be like, hey man, can you do my job for me? Like, I'd be like, yo, fuck that guy. Even if I can't, even if I don't believe that I can convince Skinder to snitch, I'm gonna ask everyone except Raylan to try to work that out. I don't know. But Raylan also points out that they'll try to get Clement through Sandy and anyone else affiliated with Clement, like Carolyn, for instance. Wendell, that's the black cop, who's the only one that I think is... Actually, I'm going to say this right now. Wendell's like the only character that's like halfway decent on this show other than Raylan. All the rest of the characters are pretty bad. I don't know, Sweetie's okay. Carolyn, I don't know. Yeah, just Sweetie's okay, but that's pretty much about it. But Wendell says Skinder won't talk to anyone but his uncle Toma, who essentially, I guess, runs this Albanian crew. And again with the pacing, right? Immediately, Raylan asks to talk to Toma, and very shortly thereafter, they're having that conversation. And I thought that was pretty cool. But in the hospital room, when they're setting up that meeting, this one huge Albanian, his name was Agnor. And him and Raylan are kind of sizing each other up, right? They're just looking at each other, not saying nothing. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be a really fun confrontation when that happens. And then they kill Agnor off screen for real this time. Because we see the body later in the episode. So that was really disappointing. I was kind of hoping they were going to build up to some confrontation. Like Raylan with, what's my man? Not Boyd, obviously. Man, it was Dickie. Oh man, I don't know. I can't forget his name. But like, actually, I'm gonna get into this in a minute. Actually, no, I'm gonna talk about it right now. No, I'm gonna talk about it in a minute. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, no, there's a better place to talk about this. So, real quick though, I do want to start with talking about where I think this episode did turn a corner. I'm not here to be completely negative. Like I said, I thought that opening scene worked really well. And there's some other scenes we're going to talk about as well. But up to this point, I thought a lot of the stuff with Willa wasn't very good. And it felt pretty inconsequential, which feels like almost a certainty now that we're probably not going to see her anymore, thus making pretty much everything that we saw with her irrelevant, aside from, I don't know, the scene with her and Clement that would fuel a hatred for Clement that Raylan wouldn't have otherwise. But I feel like that's about it. Like, I didn't feel like... I don't feel like they have any more use for her, which is fine, but it does make it's like, man, we spent 3 episodes wasted time with her. And then I also didn't feel like this season had any direction yet either. Where was this story going? When we're gonna find out where it was going? And obviously, I also wasn't seeing Clement as a formidable foe yet. And to be honest, I still don't. But every single villain on the original run of this show is not just better than Clement. They are significantly better than Clement. And I just want to, like, even though I'm kind of like piling on right now with the Clement shit, I do think that at least they tried with him in this episode. But right now, I feel like after the 4 episodes, I feel like this show is passable at best. Like, it's not something that you're going to be like, this sucks. It's also not something that you can be like, this is incredible, you have to watch it. It's just fucking passable. And I think it just needs, like, these certain moments to kind of, like I said, to kind of turn a corner and to make it go from something that's at least passable to enjoyable. And this episode did have those moments, but now it seems like Willa's gone and the season finally has some direction, which is a plus. We've established reasons for everyone to want Clement dead. Sweetie, Raylan, Carolyn, the Albanian. So that's good as well. So we do have some stakes. We at least know, not necessarily stakes, but more so like I think a clear-cut path and a clear-cut adversary. So, or adversaries in the plural. But the scales seem to be tipped in Clement's favor now, as despite everyone having a reason to want him dead, the book that he stole off of the judge is kind of looming over everything now. Seems like that black book has a lot of info that he plans on using to extort people. And Sweetie is interested in working on him with that. Is he interested in playing along with Clement and splitting the money 50-50, like straight up, like Clement wants to do, like he presents at the end of the episode? Or does he have a plan to set up Clement and take all the money for himself? And the episode itself suggests that it's the latter. And whatever he has in mind must be good, because that's a whole lot of risk. He gets a really great offer from Carolyn. She tells him if he turns in the gun and tells what he knows about his old crew, the Wrecking Crew, as well as what he knows about the Judge murder, that he can get immunity for everything, the Wrecking Crew shit and for holding the gun. It's a good deal, but he turns it down because he has big plans for that book. So he must have a really great plan. I personally feel like Sweetie's greed is going to get him killed, but I guess we'll see. I also want to talk about the Albanians in this episode. I thought they were pretty interesting. We meet their boss, Toma, who's played by Terry Kinney. I think I most recently saw him on The Watcher, which was that show on Netflix that starred Bobby Cannavale and Naomi Watts, Mia Farrow. He was on that. But Raylan wants him to convince Skender to snitch, Toma. And Toma takes 2,579 words to say the snitching ain't justice. And Brill also points out that this was a lot of words, and as a particularly verbose motherfucker myself, I was sitting there like, he's taking an insane amount of time to explain how he doesn't believe that arresting Clement is justice. But Brill gives Toma Clement's name, and Raylan's not too happy about that for obvious reasons. There's the prospect of finding Clement dead when he'd rather actually find Clement arrested, have him and see, go to trial for his crimes. And I'm just really looking forward to whatever Clement's going to do that's probably going to make Raylan change his stance on that. I feel like Raylan will become pro Clement's death before the end of this series, but we'll see. Also, side note, I normally say I don't want to hear about the book, but as a very, very big fan of the original Justified run, and as someone who is finding this show to be, again, passable, I'd be and I also heard that the story this is based on is incredible. I'd be very interested to hear what you book readers think about this series. I don't think this is interesting at all. Like at all. So, I mean, guys, let me know what about the book is interesting, or if there's some shit that's going to happen. We're already too late in the season for this, but if there's some shit that's going to happen that's going to make this way more interesting, but like, this isn't even interesting right now. But anyway. So Raylan says the Albanian is going to go after Clement and anyone affiliated with him, like I said. And again, with the pacing, moving quickly, the two Albanian henchmen immediately run up on Sandy's boss at the casino, trying to get her address. They get it. They go to her house. They tie up her feisty roommate, who I liked, who shouted at them in Lao. It was crazy. I really like that scene. They threaten her with pliers or what teeth removers or whatever to get Sandy over there. They also do this with a fuck ton of words as well, making me wonder if that's just how Albanians are or if that's what the showrunners think is intimidating. I don't know. But the one, Agnor is not talkative at all. I think he only speaks the one time when the other one says something like, she says like, what makes them Albanian? He says, because I'm holding them. I think that's the only time he talks in the episode. But yeah, I don't know if they think the other one running his mouth too much and it is like building tension, but it's not. It's very noticeable, just like long-windedness. Also, I think this show very, very obviously lacks tension. Like, and I don't know if they're going for it necessarily, but its absence is very felt. It's weird to say that the absence of something is felt, but like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just watching it. Like, I don't feel like an active participant. Like, I'm involved in like, oh, this is an exciting moment, so now I'm excited. Or there's a sad moment, so now I'm sad. It just feels like shit happening. I probably need another episode and kind of like watching for this to kind of pinpoint why I just feel like a complete lack of emotion or connection to any of this. But just off the top of my head, like I said, the story is just now starting to come around. So it's hard to be invested in a story when you're just starting to figure out what it's going to look like. And then, like I said, sorry, but the actress that plays Willow wasn't very good. Sorry, Timothy. The plot line surrounding her seems like it's not going to make much of a difference, and it wasn't interesting while it was happening. It's a network TV drama with Raylan Givens in it. So let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about they had the roommate tied up. She's all feisty, all that good stuff. They use a ton of words to tell her that about their plan with the pliers. So she calls Sandy, and in a weird scene, Clement does this whole threatening speech about wanting a blue steak, and this scene is the restaurant equivalent of him flicking the cigarettes and shit on Carolyn's landscaping last week. Any other restaurant kicks him the fuck out for being a cunt and calls the police if he refuses. Like, this whole thing of him just like talking tough guy shit is really not working for me at all. Especially when he's doing it in non-tough guy situations, like at your lawyer's house and at a fucking Applebee's. Like, that's not badass at all. Like, berating waitresses is pussy. That's not that. Like, I don't look at them like, oh, that's wow. He's scary. He's a fucking pussy. That's what he is. Like, no, like that I don't know. Whoever makes this show has the wrong idea of what is manly intimidation. Like, yes, he kills people, but like, I see a guy like Clement, I'm like, no intimidation whatsoever, dog. Like, I don't. This guy is just not intimidating. He's not scary, and they like. Him talking shit in non-tough guy situations only serves to undermine the attempt at making him badass. It makes him look like a pussy. It makes him look cowardly to me. And then it's like, okay, so you have him randomly kill people, and it's like, okay, but it's like, okay, I can't. So now I can't completely say he's pussy because you got him killing people. But like, you're doing that just because you feel like that's what's gonna make the character intimidating or scary to me. And everything he does undermines this intimidation factor. And I just don't like this character at all. And like I said in the first video I did for this show, Boyd Holbrook plays the same fucking guy in every show, in every movie. Why is he such hot shit right now? He plays the same fucking guy in everything, and it's not a very good character at all. It's not intimidating. It's not scary. The only thing I thought he was good in was this fucking Sandman show on Netflix, where he finally did play somebody different. So like, this whole scene, like, I need actions or tough guy talk in tough guy situations. That's why I like the opening scene. Tough guy shit in a tough guy situation. Berating a waitress or a lawyer does not convey badass to me. It conveys coward. And that's not what you want to convey from your lead villain here, especially when he's going up against somebody like Raylan, who is the complete that's tough guy all the fucking time. Like, he's a tough guy casually. In serious tough. Okay, like the scene in this episode where he goes up to the guys who are following Carolyn toward the end of the episode. That was a tough guy situation, and Raylan was the toughest fucking guy involved in that situation because he was so casual and showed no intimidation, and it's just like, yeah, that's what you're gonna do, and he says it in a nice voice, and it's like, that is intimidating. Whatever Clement does is just like, it just makes you want to kick his ass. Like, it doesn't be like, oh, that guy's scary. So Raylan and Brill show up at Sandy's house while the Albanians are torturing the roommate. Like I said earlier, Brill kills the one, which, as we learned, will only result in more Albanian wrath. But while the other one mourns the loss, who happens to drive by? Sandy and Clement. Ironically, if Raylan had listened to Brill's stupid ass and waited for Clement to arrive and for them all to go at it and then they could just go in and clean up the mess, it probably would have worked and they would have caught him end of series. But didn't work out that way. The episode ends with the aforementioned setup for the romantic relationship between Carolyn and Raylan, as well as Clement officially asking Sweetie to help with this plan. Both of those things I mentioned earlier in the video. Of note here, do we really buy that Clement wants this to be a partnership? Because I don't. It sounds like he needs Sweetie because he doesn't know any of the people in his book. He doesn't know my city. So he needs Sweetie to kind of like be like a liaison between him and the people that they want to extort. I feel like he probably plans on using Sweetie and keeping all the money, maybe even killing Sweetie and keeping all the money. But it doesn't matter because Sweetie has other plans anyway. But yeah, this episode, it seems to have finally shifted the show into something that interests me a little bit more than not at all. But there's still a decided lack of tension here for a number of reasons that I haven't fully arrived at yet. But like I said, I ran off a few, and I think this show could really use some of that tension. But I'm at least a little bit more comfortable with the show now. I will say this, as of now, it's still not anything I'm finding special in any particular way. It's perfectly fine for what it is, but it's also highly flawed, and it's suffering from being entirely uninteresting and having uninteresting characters and having a really shitty fucking villain. So I don't know. I don't know how many episodes this is. If it's more than 8, I don't know, guys. Again, I'm really not bought in on this one right now. We'll see what happens. If it's more than 8, I might tap out, which is, it's sad to say, but it's like, I could be doing so much other stuff, man. Like, and I love this. I love this character of Raylan Givens. Like I said, Justified is not just like, oh, I love Justified is one of my, like, probably in my top 5. Like, I love Justified. This is Graham Yost absence again is fucking looming, man. It's fucking looming. So I will see you guys next week for episode 5. Like I said, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stick it out with this one. I'm gonna see how many episodes this is. I'll report back next week, particularly after episode 5. Like if it's a really good one, or if it's really if it's really shitty, and then I see it's a 10 episode season, I might be like, yo, fuck this show. So we'll see. I don't know, but until then, I'll see you guys. And I don't know how to end this well now that I said until then. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.